10 years. That's how long it's been since The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt came out. And somehow, this game still refuses to age. While countless open-world RPGs have tried to dethrone it, The Witcher 3, in my opinion, still stands tall. Not because of nostalgia, but because it still feels right. It's rare for a game to stay relevant for a decade, especially when technology moves this fast. And yet here we are, 10 years later, still talking about Geralt of Rivia, still exploring Velen's muddy roads, and still feeling like we're part of something living and something real. So what exactly makes The Witcher 3 timeless? Not just great, not just memorable, timeless. I think I can condense it into 6 main reasons that explain why. Most open-world games build maps. The Witcher 3 built an ecosystem. From the swamps of Velen to the white cliffs of Skellige and the crowded streets of Novigrad, this world doesn't just look alive, it behaves alive. You'll hear gossip in taverns about contracts you finished hours ago. Villagers react to weather, politics, rumors. Soldiers complain about missing pay. Even merchants change their tone depending on whether you helped their village or not. That's what sets it apart. This is not a theme park built around you or for you. It's a world that was already running before you showed up, and it'll keep running long after you've gone. In a decade full of checklists and map clutter, The Witcher 3's world still feels purposeful. Every road leads somewhere meaningful. Every ruin hides a piece of forgotten lore. Every town has just enough history to make you believe that people actually live there. It's not the scale, it's about density. And that's why you can return years later and still find something new. Even today, players are discovering hidden dialogue, random events, and small storylines that never repeat. That is timeless world design. The story of The Witcher 3 is famous, but what truly gives it staying power are the characters. CD Projekt Red didn't write NPCs, they wrote people. Geralt is not a blank slate. He's a professional, he's a father figure, he's a wanderer trying to do good in a world that barely understands him and often doesn't even try to. Ciri is incredibly powerful but also vulnerable. Yennefer and Triss are more than romance options, they're layered personalities with their own moral codes and ambitions. And the side characters? They could easily carry entire games of their own. The Bloody Baron, Kira Metz, Gaunter O'Dim, Olgierd von Everick. Those are not throwaway quest givers. They are mirrors that reflect who Geralt is depending on how you play him. But here's what makes it unique. The game doesn't force you to see them one way. You can be compassionate or cynical, professional or personal. Every dialogue choice feels like it matters because you care about who's listening. And that emotional weight doesn't fade with time. A decade later, people still argue about which ending they got, which one is better, who they romanced, or whether they made the right call. That kind of moral echo, that lingering sense of "did I do the right thing?" is what keeps players coming back. Games age. Characters like these do not. This is something that most RPGs still get wrong. They build systems first, then try to justify them with lore. The Witcher 3 did the opposite. Everything, from combat and alchemy to monster research, exists because it fits the life of a Witcher. You're not just playing a hero, you're performing a trade. You study monsters, you brew potions, you negotiate contracts, you prepare for the unknown. On easy difficulties, it's possible to ignore all of that, but once you start engaging with those mechanics, you realize how elegantly they reflect the narrative. Combat isn't designed to make you feel powerful, it's meant to make you feel skilled. When you finally win a tough fight, it's because you earned it through preparation, not brute force. Even the signs, those 5 quick-cast Witcher spells, aren't flashy gimmicks, they're tools. A Witcher uses magic like a mechanic uses a wrench. Efficiently, when needed, and with precision. It's a design philosophy that aged incredibly well. You can replay it today and those systems still feel satisfying, not outdated. And when a game's mechanics are this intertwined with its lore, it doesn't matter how old the graphics get, it still feels coherent. Games with choices are common now, but very few have consequences that feel organic. In The Witcher 3, your choices don't just change numbers, they reshape the emotional landscape. Say you let a cursed spirit go free early in the game. Hours later, you learn that choice caused an entire village to be massacred. There's no big flashing good or bad meter, just silence and regret. That's what makes it powerful. The game trusts you to live with your decisions without judging them, and these consequences ripple through every layer of the experience. From politics to personal relationships, you always feel like your presence matters. Even Geralt's tone in dialogue changes how people react to you. That subtle cause and effect system gives the game its replay value, because every playthrough reveals a slightly different world, one that remembers how you behaved last time. Even a decade later, it's rare for an RPG to pull that off so naturally, and that's why The Witcher 3's storytelling still feels ahead of its time. Some games fade because they stop evolving. The Witcher 3 kept growing. From its original release in 2015 to the next-gen update in 2022, CD Projekt Red kept refining it. The visuals were upgraded, the lighting reworked, textures improved, performance optimized, ray tracing, haptic feedback, quality of life changes. They didn't reinvent the game, they preserved it, and it worked. The new version feels smoother, sharper, and yet perfectly faithful to the original. It's not nostalgia bait, it's proof of dedication. Then there are the expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. Both could have been standalone games. Hearts of Stone gave us one of the most fascinating villains in RPG history. Gaunter O'Dim, the Man of Glass, some kind of demon or a Faustian devil himself. Blood and Wine offered closure not just to Geralt's story, but to players' journeys. A final chapter that felt like saying goodbye to an old friend. That level of post-launch quality is rare even now. Most DLCs feel like filler. These felt like love letter. Even 10 years later, the game is being updated, modded, and remastered by both developers and fans. It hasn't stayed alive through marketing, it stayed alive through care. You can have great graphics, deep mechanics, and complex quests, but if a game doesn't have soul, it fades fast. The Witcher 3 has soul. It's in the way the music swells as you ride across a sunset field. It's in the awkward silences between Geralt and Yennefer, the laughter of drunk friends at Kaer Morhen, or the quiet horror of a war-torn village. It's in how you can walk away from a quest feeling both accomplished and heartbroken. The emotional truth of The Witcher 3 is what gives it its timelessness. It's not about nostalgia or graphics, it's about resonance. You finish it, and it stays with you, and that's something you can't patch, remaster, or imitate. That comes from intention, from a team that built something personal. 10 years later, players still talk about moments that made them pause. The Baron's story, Geralt's reunion with Ciri, moments that felt more real than half the realistic games released since. That's the difference between a good game and a timeless one. When people say a game aged well, they usually mean it still looks good. But The Witcher 3 aged well because its values were ahead of their time. It treated players with respect. It didn't hold your hand. It trusted you to understand moral complexity and emotional nuance. It focused on writing over spectacle, immersion over map icons. Those things don't get old. They get rarer. In 2025, when so many open-world games feel like chores, The Witcher 3 reminds you why you fell in love with gaming in the first place. Because sometimes, for a few hours, you can live another life and it feels real. That's why it endures. That's why new players still fall in love with it. And that's why veterans keep coming back for one more contract. So, let's recap the 6 reasons The Witcher 3 remains timeless after a decade. A world that feels truly alive, characters who feel human, systems that serve the story, choices that still surprise you, craftsmanship that never stopped improving. A soul that resonates long after the credits roll. Plenty of games have come and gone, promising massive open worlds, cinematic storytelling, and endless choices. Few have actually delivered all three at once, and fewer still have done it with this much heart. The Witcher 3 didn't need to reinvent itself to stay relevant, it just needed time for the rest of the industry to catch up. 10 years later, most RPGs still measure themselves against it. And maybe that's the real mark of timelessness, not that a game refuses to age, but that everything else keeps trying to be it. So if it's been a while since you last played The Witcher 3, fire it up again. Not for the nostalgia, not for the graphics, but to remember what it feels like when a game truly means something,